Hello, we are I Don't Know How, But They Found Me. That's the name of our band. I know it's long, but you are hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
I got to catch you guys at the Hotel Cafe when you did that little debut, and that was pretty incredible.
That was a fun little show that we had there. Yeah, that was the night that all of our gear got stolen. Just right after that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At a 5-star hotel.
Oh my god.
Nonetheless.
Luckily, we got it all back though. So
Right.
life is good. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So coming into that show, like publicist sent me information and was like, "Hey, you got to check these guys out." Sent me like the stream of the EP, and I listened to it instantly. Just fell in love with it. So, but coming into the show, I didn't know what to expect, and then, sure enough, it's still the two-piece on stage, and you guys are killing it. Like, you guys had a full like band out there. Like, how are you guys able to make a two-piece sound so full?
Technology.
Yeah. We definitely rely on backing tracks for the most part.
Yeah.
There are times in our show where we turn them off though and keep it between the two of us. So try to find a balance. But it's basically we decided to keep it a two-piece just because we're both like cheap bastards. So it works out.
But it works. There's only another artist that I know of that does it and kills it, which is Riot Child, friends of yours as well.
Yeah.
And like, it's incredible. I feel like that's so hard to just have those two members and still make it sound so full on stage.
Yeah, I mean, Dallin sometimes can appear to be like there's like 5 or 6 of them going on at once when he's moving up there and playing the bass. But yeah, but we try our best to make the best possible show happen.
So the idea of this project kind of started out a while back, a couple years back. But while you guys were trying to figure out how to make this a reality, what was that like for you guys?
It was all pretty organic. I started making some recordings, some ideas that I had, just lying around with no real goal in mind. But as I started to, needing drums and stuff on the tracks, I'd bring in this guy and we'd get to hanging out again, and decided to just start playing live around town in secret, just for fun and to see if the songs could, gain people's attention on their own. And it just kind of snowballed from there. So
I like that you guys kept it organic. You guys wanted that organic following. In doing so, like, did you miss doing that all over again? Like starting a new band and like trying to hustle that new band and that new project?
I mean, it's one of those things where if you're starting a new band, we just want to do it how every other band does it, where you start at the bottom, and we realize like with some of our past projects that we would get the attention, to do this band, but we didn't want to bastardize like the brands of the bands we were, hired on to play with.
And we didn't want to take advantage of fans either, because when you're coming from bands that are more popular, building credibility for a new project is sort of a challenge, because there's always going to be, no matter what you do, there's always going to be people that go, well, you only got this because you came from here. And that's not completely unwarranted as an opinion, but we wanted to take that into consideration and sort of put it in the back seat and see if we could build credibility on our own by playing in secret, not telling anyone what we were doing, and also flat out denying what we were doing as well. So I think it worked out pretty good.
Take me to the studio of creating 1981, the extended play. Like, what was that like between the two of you guys? Like, what was that chemistry like?
Well, I was going to say for most of it, Dallin's he's the songwriting genius, but I would come in and just lay down some drums and write drum parts after.
Studio's probably the wrong word. I think it was mostly put together at my kitchen table, but I only recently started learning how to record on my own in the last year or two.
Wow, okay.
So I would only be able to get these songs to a certain point, and then I'd have to find a friend with more knowledge and more equipment than I had access to. And we got pieced together over several different locations over time. Just whoever had like a free hour here or could get me into their studio for super cheap for an hour or two there. So
drums like in like a kitchen in the middle of nowhere in like somewhere like Lancaster, California.
Like DIY.
Which is kind of cool because when most bands start off too, bands don't start off with like a lot of money anyway. So it's like we just want to do what every other band would do when they're starting a band.
Plus, I think it can be a strength too, like having a budget or starting on a non-existent budget. It can sort of force you to be more creative with what you do have.
Yeah.
And that definitely served our purposes as well. So
Ryan, can I get you to come a little closer to me? There we go. Perfect.
there he is.
There we go. He's here. I wasn't talking to some random guy. Yeah. So, while you guys were creating this project, like you also brought some people in, Tim Anderson from Ima Robot, and then Josh from Bad Flower as well, right?
Yeah. Josh did some mixing for us and recorded some of your drums, right?
Yeah, like I went to Josh's studio. That's where I was talking about the kitchen. You know,
that
so
was the kitchen.
I recorded drums in his kitchen for a song.
Tim Anderson from Ima Robot. I'm such a huge fan of that band. Always was. Their first record that they put out, I still play that pretty regularly. I love it so much. But to write a little bit with Tim Anderson was really cool for me as like a fan of him and his work.
Right.
But we ended up writing Absinthe, which is one of my favorite songs on the EP. So it was really fun. Good experience.
What did you learn from co-writing with him?
He's just a really chill dude. You know, I met him once before, years and years ago, when I was just like a super fan of his band, and I had to geek out a little bit and tell him that story. And I think he only vaguely remembered me, but I was a Punisher for sure. Like I was so just over the moon as far as like fan of that band goes.
Right.
So
Now, did you purposely ask him because you were a fan, or did you?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
So you've been
yeah.
wanting to do
When
that.
his name came up on the list of like people that I could go do co-writes with, I was like,
That's so
can,
cool.
can I write with him? So it was really cool.
So with the recording with Bad Flower in their kitchen, what did you do different this time around with the drums? Because you've been playing drums for different projects before.
Man, I think I just went into it like, what would I want to contribute on this?
Yeah.
What's gonna make this like just stand out for drums? I mean, nothing else, because the song's already there. You know, drums is kind of viewed as an accompaniment, but I also view it as like it can make or break a song too.
Right.
So
Now, the fact that previously you're used to doing more harder music with the drums, so when you come in to do this project, like, do you feel like that's more of a challenge in a way?
See that's a good question, because I feel like any true drummer should be versatile. They shouldn't be limited to one genre of any type. So I feel like it just makes me have a stronger background, I guess.
Right.
And I've known this guy for almost a decade. I've heard him play every kind of music under the sun, and that's another reason why I wanted him to come do this with me. Is he's got really great philosophies on how he approaches the drums, and always puts serving the song as his top priority, which is something that we both share. Is the song comes first in every case. So.
Do you feel like there was a song in this EP that challenged you the most?
Yeah, I think the one that was probably the most difficult to finish and put together was probably Choke, right?
That was like the one that really got the attention too.
Yeah, that's the one that really caught fire first, but putting it together was really a challenge because it was just bits and pieces in several different locations over the course of a long time, just because that budget to make the song happen just wasn't there. So
Yeah. Now, when you guys are changing locations like that, like, does that change the dynamic of, or does that ever change like the idea of what you had initially? Like, if you had a drum part in mind, for example, you were doing it in LA, but then you ended up going to New York or Nashville to do it. Does that kind of change in any way?
I think music is relative to wherever you are. Like, even if I recorded it like in this room, just as an example, it could be drastically different. You just never know.
Right.
That's the beauty about music too, is that it's kind of on the spot and being creative. In the moment when you're recording.
Right.
But
the EP dropped and you guys went on tour. You guys have been on tour. So now that you guys are performing a lot of these songs live, and more fans are getting to know you guys, like, does it change the mindset of how you want to record the next projects for this band?
Yeah, it definitely has given us some ideas of what to do, not just with future songs and future records, but songs that we've already recorded that we now want to go back and make some changes to before we release them. Because you get certain ideas as you play things live. They evolve a little bit and change from night to night. And some things work really well, and you fall in love with them, and some things you don't. So it's kind of a living, breathing thing, but it's definitely given us some ideas.
A song is always recorded but never finished.
Yeah, I like that.
So
You're on a roll today, man. Like,
The challenge.
yeah.
That's a good. It's true, but the challenge becomes, knowing when to say when.
Right,
And I
yeah.
think that's the hard part about it. So.
Right. Now, you guys were obviously friends for many years already, but when you guys actually get on that stage or get to that rehearsal for the very first time, like, what was the actual chemistry when you guys finally like performed together? Like, was it just natural? Did you guys have to kind of get to each other, like get used to each other?
Yeah.
Just picked up where we left off, I guess. Yeah.
We've known each other for so long. It's just been really easy
Yeah.
from the get-go. Even 10 years ago when we were playing, it's just always really easy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just full circle though.
Yeah.
Meant to be here.
Yep. I'm excited. I'm over the moon about the whole thing. It's great.
So this tour is about to wrap up. What do you guys have, lined up for other shows, other tours? I know you guys have festivals for 2019.
Yeah, well, we're heading to the UK pretty much right when this tour is done. We have one show that we're doing in London, and then coming back to plan some more shows, I guess. So
Celebrating the holidays, have a nice, relaxed time. Maybe work on some new material,
Right.
For the downtime that we have. But it's a good way to close out the year. Just playing one final show in London. I think it's gonna be like 5,000 people or something like that at the show. But
sick.
yeah, so
1981 Extended Play is the EP. It's out now. Why 1981?
81. Yeah, I think you said 91.
No, 81.
Okay, you did. Okay.
Man, you're making me nervous now. Damn.
Sorry. Dan, why don't you answer this?
what was it again? I missed that.
Why was this the title, and why an EP?
Oh, well, I was born in 1981, and sort of the myth behind the band that we created initially is that it's a band from 30-something years ago that got forgotten about and never really had a chance at success, and that all these recordings that we're coming out with are now being uncovered, dusted off out of archives, and people are only now discovering it. So that's sort of the concept behind what we've been doing, and that concept will change as we move forward, but for now it's been pretty fun to do it that way.